Block, who is going to talk to us about Metronome, which is really quite a unique project to my knowledge, with a single currency which can move around between blockchains. So we've kind of arrived at the point where the rails and the assets running on those rails are starting to be decoupled, which is really very interesting. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Manoj Patidar, Principal Engineer at Block. So in this session, we will discuss about Metronome. So Metronome is a build-to-large cryptocurrency, which is actually cross-platform. The cross-blockchain cryptocurrency can be moved from one blockchain to other blockchain. So some problems in today's blockchain world is that the cryptocurrency or the crypto coins are tied with the one specific blockchain. So any crypto coins which is launched on the one specific chain is actually permanently tied with the one chain. And it also has some crypto coins has the discretions of the founders and community members, and they have the limited opportunity for the sale, or maybe some vaporware or some the crypto coins which was launched in 2017, they were even not listed on the good exchange. So it is not the fair opportunities for the cryptocurrency holders. So Metronome is actually designed from the motivation taken from the past experience from the previous the cryptocurrencies. Which is something like, the cryptocurrency should be self-governed. The one motivation, it should be predictable and reliable. And it should have the self-governance, and it should be actually be the portable. So technology we have used for the Metronome is, initially it was launched on the EVM Ethereum as a ERC20, and now the later in the June 2019 we launched for the Ethereum Classic as well. So so Metronome is cross-chain cryptocurrency, which is the working perfectly fine on these two mainnet of the Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Initially, when it was launched in 2018, the June 2018, so 10 millions of the Metronomes were the minted, 8 millions were actually sold in the initial supply auction, and 2 millions were the retained for the authors. And so there was no pre-ICO, no whitelisting, no fundraising. Whatever sold in the pre-auctions were actually into the smart contract ecosystem. So it actually in the proceed contract. So no one is having the access to this one. Even the founders or the owner has no access to this, the $1 million of the worth Ethereum, which is into the smart contract. So why this is designed like this? Because this is the self-governance which can be worked forever. So a foundational cryptocurrency is like which should have the store of value, like gold is gold. So cryptocurrency should be like having the store of value, no place where it should be. So Metronome is also having the store of value across the different blockchain. So irrespective of which chain you have, you can move it from one chain to other chain. Like it has the payment system with some payment features like the mass payment and subscriptions. And because it is based on the smart contract, so it is programmable cryptocurrency. The key design principles behind Metronome is the self-governance. So it is self-governance because it is not influenced by the founding members or the community. So this setup is smart contract which is developed. It has the 4 set of smart contract which has the proceeds, auctions, and autonomous converters. We'll talk about it in the next slide. And it is reliable because it is the reliable and the predictable because the minting can be predicted for the 100 years for now, because it has the 2% inflation rate annually, 2,880 Metronome hours being minted daily in the daily auction. And this auction is actually starting in every midnight UTC. And this auction contract auto run, and this actually has the descending price auction. and it auto-discovers the fair price of the metronome. So metronome purchaser who feels that what is the fair value of metronome at particular moment of time, they go ahead and buy it from the auctions, or they can use autonomous converter contract to exchange with the native currency. It is portable, it is cross-chain, the currency which has been launched on the Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, which is truly actually has the features where the independent, the network of distributors, the network of validators can validate the chain ops. Fairness, so it is fair because it gives the fair opportunity for all the metronome token holders to actually use it or exchange it in the autonomous converter contract. So whenever if someone want to buy it, so there is no dependency on any third-party exchange. So the metronome ecosystem has a autonomous converter is smart contract which has the liquidity of Ethereum and Ethereum Classic on the specific chain and the metronome. So as of now, proceed contracts is used to fund autonomous converter, and every night 0.25% from the proceed contracts goes to autonomous converters to maintain the liquidity of the native currency. So auction contract is running the descending price auctions. Every midnight UTC start with the 2,880 metronomes are sold into this one. And whenever the auction contract, every day new auction start, it starts with the 2x price of the last day's sold out price, and every minute it decreases by the 1%. And whenever the auction start, it also transfer the fund from the proceed contracts to the autonomous converter contracts. So it transfer 0.25% from the proceed contract. So whatever the amount has been collected in the auction, today's auction goes to the proceed contracts, and as of now, proceed contracts has approximate somewhere between $2 to $3 million the worth of Ethereum into proceed contracts, and these proceed contracts actually send 0.25 basis percent to the autonomous converter, and autonomous converter is having the liquidity of these two, the native currency and the metronome. So it is kind of decentralized financial instrument, product where it has the liquidity of the both currencies into the contract, and this is self-governed. No one is holding, no one is owner of this one. So metronome is portable. It has been launched on the Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So chain op has been successfully done. So since last 3 or 4 months, it has been tested on the mainnet. So as of now, we did it for the mainnet on the Ethereum Classic, and we are testing it for the Quantum and the RSK, and we are also doing the technical feasibility for the other chain. So how does it work? So it has the network of validators, which is off-chain distributed networks of validators. They do the validations of the chain off. So whenever the wallet, if the user initiate any export from the one chain, from the source chain, and submit the import on the destination chain. So this group of the network of validators do the consensus and the validations of these transactions on the source chain. So once they have the consensus among themselves, then they do the attestations on the destination chain, and then the users is going to burn this metronome on the source chain and do the minting on the destination chain. And this minting is done only when these validators has the consensus among themselves. So this is the phase 1 validators networks. As the technology will evolve, we will have the completely distributed and independent the system where we can say that each set of metronomes on the one blockchain can be considered as a one lily pad or the one node or something. And then on the other chain, it would be the second node. So whenever every hour we can generate one the block on the metronome, which is something like blockchain on the blockchain. So this node can be carry the information. So whenever someone will be exporting the metronome from the one chain to other chain will be carrying some information. So that is for the phase 2 and phase 3, which is still in the technical study and in the design phase. So Metronome has the desktop and mobile wallet. So in this, the mobile wallet, whenever the user initiate export, it does generate the unique hash of the export receive, which is the unique hash for the each burn. And this export receipt is submitted to destination chain. Now the destination chain, on the destination chain in the smart contract, so there cannot be the duplicate, the receipt can be submitted by the users. And then this validators is watching all the chains where the metronome LilyPad has been deployed. As of now, it is deployed on the 2 chain. So these validators will go and read this export receive, validate the transaction hash on the source chain, and then we'll do the attestation. So there are the different interoperability solutions in the blockchain. So Metronome is slightly different from the others. So it is not the wrapped token, it is not the atomic swap. It has the chain of complete solutions, where the users do the movement of store of value asset from the one chain to other chain. So the brains behind this, the great innovations, this one, and then so this is our team and advisors. If anyone has any questions, welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
So I've been paying attention to this project for a little bit because I think it's interesting to have sort of a cross-chain currency, because like the currency can live, between multiple infrastructures, and that makes sense to me. My question is, how do you actually ensure that the economic value is able to be transferred to another chain? So for example, if I, let's say, move $1 worth of Metronome tokens from Ethereum to, let's say, a chain that, let's say ETC, where there's a lot less users and there's a lot less liquidity, would it still be worth $1 on sort of the new chain, even though I moved it over, because there's less sort of buyers there? That was my question.
Yeah. So actually, when you move the one metronome from the chain 1 to chain 2, so on the, say, suppose you move it from the Ethereum, and Ethereum's autonomous converter contract has some different liquidity. And Ethereum Classic's autonomous converters of the Metronome has the different liquidity of the Ethereum Classic and Metronome. So it will depend on the current available liquidity in a specific chain. So you are moving one asset, that means the one unit of the Metronome from the one chain to other chain, but the value will depends on the available liquidity on that specific chain. So actually it will balance automatically, because the traders, what they will do, if they feel that the Metronome on the chain 2 is being sold at a lower price than the Metronome on the chain 1, so they will do the exchange between this one. So as of now, we have seen some of the users who is doing the chain off on the regular basis, because the autonomous converter on the other chain may be having the different liquidity, so they want to leverage the difference of these two, the liquidity, and they keep hopping from the one chain to other chain. So it is, you have the Metronome, you have the unique asset, store of the value, but if you want to actually compare with the price of the Metronome on the different chain, it depends on the other exchanges or the autonomous converters liquidity. But it will auto adjust this one if you, so we have the very nice dashboard on the metronome.io, where it does display the price of the difference. So market price of the Metronome in the exchange, and the Metronome's price in the autonomous converter and in the auction. So more or less, we have seen that autonomous converters price, market price, and auctions price, they are more or less same, because the traders who are watching this regularly, they do the exchange between these three sources of the Metronome. So they buy from the auctions, they sell in the autonomous converter, they buy from the autonomous converter, sell in the exchange. So it will auto-adjust the values of the metronome. Thank you.